Hello everybody! We're going to talk about the area of triangles and trapezoids today. So here's our triangle. So area formula for triangle is 1/2 times base times height. Very similar to rectangles in parallelograms, except for we're going to multiply by 1/2. If you think about a rectangle, if you wanted to split that up into a triangle, you would have to cut it in half. So that's where this 1/2 comes from. So B is still our base. H is still our height, and the height still has to go straight up and down, so it's right here. It is not either of these slanted sides. So the height must go straight up and down, should not be slanted. Okay, so let's do a couple areas on some triangles. You should be pretty familiar with this, you have done it before. So we got a triangle here, we're going to use our area formula, and then we're just going to plug everything in. So here's my base, here's my height. I'm going to plug in 14 for B, 16 for H. And in my calculator, I'm going to do 1/2 times 14 times 16. A is 112 inches, and make sure we square the inches. Okay, number 2. Here's our base. So just so I'm clear, that is from here to here. That is our base. It's not this full length down here, just from here to here. Here's my height. Still find an area, so I'm going to do 1/2 base times height. I'm going to plug in my base, 14, plug in my height of 10. I'm going to do 1/2 times 14 times 10. 70. So A is 70 meters squared. Number 3. So I got a lot more numbers now. So I just need to make sure I'm saying what my base is and what my height is. So I'm still finding area. My base is always just going to be this bottom right here. I don't need the 6. It's just this 22. My height is the straight up and down height. So that's this right here. This is height. I'm going to plug in, and then I'm going to put everything in my calculator. So I'm going to do 1/2 times 22 times 21. You push enter, and I get 231, and that is going to be inches squared. Okay, I want you to pause the video now and do 4, 5, and 6. So do 4, 5, and 6. All right, number 4, you should get 3.5 meters squared. 5, you should get 18 meters squared. 6, you should get 63 inches squared. If you have questions, let me know. If you have questions on 7, let me know for that one as well. Now let's talk about some trapezoids. So trapezoids, this is a shape that doesn't get talked about quite as often, but it is a 4-sided shape with a pair of opposite sides that are parallel. So here are 2 examples. This side and this side are parallel, and then same thing on this side and this side. You can also see it like this sometimes too, so you might see this as a bottom, this is our top, with parallel sides like that. That's also possible. So on here, it gets a little funky with our equation. We take the bottom base and the top base, we add them together. We multiply by the height, and then we multiply by 1/2. It has to do with splitting things up into triangles and finding the area of those triangles, and then also finding the area of what's left over. So that's where this formula kind of gets created from. So B1, I like to think of this as the bottom base, and B2 I like to think of as the top base. It doesn't really matter what order you put them in, but I find if you just say which one is which, it makes it a little easier. So those are going to get filled in right here. H is still the height. Just like all the other ones, the height must go straight up and down. It is this distance right here. It's neither of the slanted sides. You could say that it's this right here, since that also is straight up and down, just like the height, but it is definitely not this. Okay, let's find the area. So for this, I find it easiest to plug in exactly what we have. So I have my formula right here. I'm going to write exactly what it is. I'm going to label everything, and I'm going to plug everything in. So base 1, my bottom base, that's this down here. Base 2, top base, this right here. H, this right here. This is nothing to us. We don't need to use that. Remember, height goes straight up and down. I'm going to take all those numbers and put them where they need to go in my formula. So 1/2. And then I'm going to do 4. I'm just going to put that in parentheses so we don't get confused with our numbers. And I'm going to do my other parenthesis. I'm going to put B1, which is 12, plus B2, which is 7. I'm going to put exactly that in my calculator. So I'm going to take my calculator. I'm going to do 1/2, parentheses 4, parentheses 12, plus 7, close that parenthesis. So I typed exactly what's here into my calculator. I push enter. That is my area, 38. We're still going to use our units squared in there. So we still want those units squared. So final answer should be 38 inches squared. Okay, on to number 2. So number 2 is a trapezoid that looks a little bit more like this one. Same exact idea though, nothing changes. Same formula. And we're going to plug everything in. So I'm going to label my stuff first. This is B1. This is B2. Now I got to decide on the height. It's got to be the one that goes straight up and down. That's 7. Cannot be 7.9. We're not going to use that one. So I'm going to plug everything in. Going to have a 7 for my height, and then B1 is 13.1 plus 8.9, which is B2. I'm going to plug exactly that into my calculator. 1/2, parentheses 7, parentheses 13.1 plus 8.9. Push enter. A is 77, and units are going to be meters squared. Okay. We'll do one more together, and then I'll let you go on your own. This one's got a bunch of numbers. So still the same formula. RB1 is this bottom part right here. B2 still top. Height still the one that goes straight up and down. These ones on the sides mean absolutely nothing to us. Now we're going to plug in 1/2 times R4 times, we've got 8 plus 6. All of that goes into my calculator. So we've got 1/2 times 4 times 8 plus 6. Push enter. I get A should be 28. And then I don't have any units on this. So when that happens, I always just put the word units squared. If it doesn't tell me what units we're measuring in, we just put units squared. Okay, I'm now going to have you try some on your own. So you're going to do 4, 5, and 6. So you're doing 4 through 6 now. Start on that now, pause the video, and do that. So 4, you should get 18 centimeters squared. 5, you should get 522 centimeters squared. 6 you should get 165 centimeters squared. If you have any questions on that, let me know. If you have questions on 7, also let me know for that one. Otherwise, have a great day.